Hi and welcome to Redshadow Hacking, and one walkthrough of many to be released about ethical hacking. In this series, I'm dabbling in the world of CTFs, Capture the Flag challenges, which are aimed at making you and me better ethical hackers. With the knowledge I will share in this series, you'll be able to improve not only your Linux skill set, but also your critical thinking as an adversary in terms of exploiting different systems. Let's make sure we are prepared by downloading a hypervisor if you don't have one already. I would suggest either VirtualBox, VMware Workstation, or Microsoft Hyper-V. To make it as easy for you as possible to follow along, please download and install either of these Linux distributions as your attacker machine. Kali Linux, Parrot OS. Once installing the attacker machine is finished, please make a full update. Since these are Debian-based attacker systems, open a terminal and use this command to update. Sudo apt update and sudo apt dist-upgrade -y. When these settings are applied, start the machines and let's begin. The first thing I want to do is create a folder called Matrix Breakout. I'll do it in my vulnhub folder, and I will check out my IP address. IP add pipe grep inet. So here I'll find my own IP address, 192.168.148.131. After that, I would like to do an mmap scan to scan my own local network and see if I can find the target machine. nmap-t4 192.168.148.0/24. So here I can find a VMware machine that is hosting a web server and an SSH port, which means this is my target. So I will do an aggressive scan with time allocation 4 on all ports on 192.168.148.134, which is my target machine. I will also output the scan to a normal text file called scan. Okay, so once that scan is finished, I've found a few things about the protocols that are running on these ports. First of all, port 22 is open for SSH. Port 80 is open with an HTTP protocol running on an Apache server, and port 81 is also open running an Nginx server. The more low-hanging fruit is port 80, so I will check out the website that the web server is hosting. So okay, here we have a page that says, "Welcome to the boot to root CTF Morpheus 1. You play Trinity trying to investigate a computer on the Nebuchadnezzar that Cypher has locked everyone else out of, at least for SSH. Good luck." And as we can see, there is a picture of Trinity. So let's view the page source to see if there's anything interesting. There is the picture, so I will save it to our folder. Matrix Breakout, so that we can maybe check it out for later. So what to do now? Let's do a GoBuster scan on the target on the HTTP server to see if we can find any more subfolders on the website. GoBuster, dir for directory search, -u for URL, http://192.168.148.134 -w for word list /user/share/wordlist/dirbuster, and I will use the directory list 2.3 medium for this search. I will put a -t 100 for 100 threads and I will also add the extensions PHP and TXT to see if I can find any files on the server. I see that we have found a robots.txt file, so I will quickly go and check that out on the web server. It says there's no white rabbit here, keep searching, so nothing interesting for us. We also do find a graffiti.txt and a graffiti.php file. So let's go and check those out. Graffiti.php. Okay, so we arrive at something called Nebuchadnezzar graffiti wall. And it says, mouse here, welcome to the Nebby. Make sure not to tell Morpheus about this graffiti wall. It's just here to let us blow off some steam. So I've tried a few commands in the message field, and I'm going to check the page source. In here we can see the input field and the type. It says hidden. It says it creates a file with the value graffiti.txt. So if we input something, it will input that into a file called graffiti.txt on the web server. This is important to know for us. So let's look at the txt file. Okay, so in the txt file, there's all our commands that we have tried so far, so it's certainly writing to that file on the web server. My suggestion to go forward with this is by using Burp Suite to check out the web request when we are posting one of these comments on the graffiti wall. So I will start Foxy Proxy, which is a proxy handler that works as an extension to Firefox. This is a very easy way to toggle between the proxy and turning it off to surf normally. There are instructions on the web, and I will post a link here how to install Foxy Proxy. So let's open Burp Suite. So in Foxy Proxy, I'll make sure that my Burp Suite proxy is turned on, so that every web request that we now do will be sent through Burp Suite before the request is sent for a response on the web server. So we can then intercept this request in Burp Suite, which we have done. We turn the intercept on, and we can see that our request is then turning up in our Burp Suite window. Here we can see that it's a post, we can see the message that was ciao, and we can see that it writes the file graffiti.txt. This is something that we can manipulate. Since the web server is writing to a file, we can try to insert some kind of malicious code into the message and send it to a file that we can then access through the web server to execute the payload. So let's turn off Foxy Proxy, and I know just the site to build a payload that will suit our needs. This site is called revshells.com. So in here, we just type our IP address, our own IP address, which is the address that we want the payload to call back to for us to get a session to the web target. And we will also put our port in that we want it to call back on. This will be our listening port for the future. We choose our OS, which in this case is Linux, because the web server is running on a Linux system. After that, I will choose a PHP reverse shell, and as you can see, it writes the whole shell for us. I will choose the type of shell that I want it to call back on, and I will, in this case, just choose a normal shell. I will not use encoding for this, but if you have problems with executing a reverse shell somewhere because it gets caught by antivirus or Microsoft Defender or something like that, then you can try to encode the reverse shell to evade these defenses. Okay, so just to show you the process again, I will turn my intercept on in my proxy. I have typed in a few more commands on the graffiti wall, and let's catch the request once again. I will put something like let's hack. I will write this in the message field, let's hack, and I will then press the post button, and we are seeing in Burp Suite that we have caught the request. So here's the message, let's hack, and the message is written to the file graffiti.txt. So let's send this request to the repeater. In the repeater we can change and modify the request and send it to the web server to see what kind of response we get. So let's change this message part to our reverse shell. I will just paste it in here. Here you can see the whole reverse shell from rebshells.com is pasted into the message field in our requests, and it still writes it to the file graffiti.txt, but let's change it. I'll put redshadow.php, so it will create a new file with the reverse shell inside it called redshadow.php. I will then send it to the web server, and this response gives us a 200 OK. So this means that our reverse shell has been successfully uploaded to the web server. This is great because we can now start a listener in Netcat. If you remember, when we created the reverse shell, we set it to call back on 4444. So let's start the listener. If we try to access the file that we just created on the web server, it will then start the payload for us. So let's disable the Foxy proxy. Let's change the URL to redshadow.php and press enter. And now if we look back in the terminal, we should see that we have gotten a shell. Look at that. So we now have a shell session connected to the web server, which is great because now we can do a lot of other things. Let's first ls to see what we have in the current folder. And there is one flag right there. So let's cat the flag and see what it contains. Okay, so flag 1. You've gotten onto the system. Now, why has Cypher locked everyone out of it? Can you find a way to get Cypher's password? It seems like he gave it to Agent Smith, so Smith could figure out where to meet him. Also, pull this image from the web server on port 80 to get a flag. And it says there's a flag in the image called cypher-neo.png. So anyway, I find this Cypher Neo PNG to be a rabbit hole because there is no such file on the web server. Okay, so I will try to enumerate some information for our system that we are logged in on, and I will use a script called linpiece, which is a bash script. And to download this script, I will have to go into the temp folder, and I will use the link and wget the linpiece script. After that, I have to modify the rights and put an executable right on the linpiece script. Then I will just check if we now have the executable rights and start the script. This script will do a lot of enumeration for us. It's a great script to see what we can exploit or use to our advantage on a Linux system. So it will take a little bit of time, but be patient. We can see vulnerabilities in scripts and permissions, and we can also see if we can exploit this system somehow. So this is what I'm looking for: CVE 2022-0847. This is an exploit called Dirty Pipe, and I'm going to try and use this exploit to escalate our privileges. So let's search for Dirty Pipe exploit. So I will use the SH extension Dirty Pipe exploit, and this Dirty Pipe exploit is found online. You can simply search for Dirty Pipe bash script. Change the execution right by doing a chmod +x on the file, and then simply run /dirtypipe.sh. Okay, so now we are root, and we can check in the root folder. And there is our flag. Perfect! Great job. Thanks for following this walkthrough.